Welcome to my channel, everyone. To current subscribers, welcome back. And to anyone new stopping in for the first time, welcome to She Has Plans. Please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you are not already subscribed. And don't forget the notification bell so you do not miss any videos that I post. Today is Friday, and usually we do Financial Friday. But then I realized that this paycheck is one of the 2 extra paychecks that I get in a year, or we all get in a year. So I am just going to take the time to talk about how to set up a budget or spending plan. So I'm going to leave this here, but I'm going to open up to the page that I have. Okay. So I have here how to set up a spending plan. And so number 1 is basically to write out all of your bills in order from the first of the month to the last day of the month. And so you're also going to make sure that you put the due date and the amount. Very important to put the amount, because once you finish making your list, you're going to add up the amount so you can see how much you need just for bills for the entire month. In this, make sure you do not forget your subscriptions, all the debt that you owe, anything like that. It all goes here. Your regular bills like rent, mortgage, electric, water, gas. But don't forget those subscriptions: Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, your subscription to maybe Audible, or if you do the monthly payments to have Amazon Prime, things like that. Don't forget those. And then next thing you're going to do, number 2, is write the bills from your list on a monthly calendar, and also write in your paydays. So let me show you my monthly calendar. This is pretty much why I have this pulled out, so I can show you my monthly calendar. So you want to make sure that you list your bills in order, and then plug in your paydays. You may get paid every week, you may get paid twice a week, as I do, and you want to make sure that you plug those in, because then you can see your bills in relation to your paydays. And you want to make sure that you're going to be able to cover your bills from each paycheck. So you don't want to have like all your bills to the beginning, so that the end of the month you're really not paying any bills, but you have bills late at the beginning of the month because it's too heavy for your one check to handle. You can always call your billing companies and ask if you can move your days. Even online, you can go and see if there's an option to move the day that you pay your bill, so you will be able to make those payments on time, and that will kind of eliminate some of it will kind of help decrease the amount of times you pay a bill late. So just try to shift things around so that it works for you. And so, as I was saying, this check that I did get paid is one of the 2 extra checks we get a year. It doesn't mean that I don't have anything to pay out of this check, because the way I set it up is I still take out my future expense funds, and I also take out my money for my digital envelopes. That way, I pay my tithes, I have gas money, I have grocery money, and I have, self-care money, and then my future expense funds. There are no bills that will be coming out of this check for me. And that's how we want to get it. That's how we want things to be, that we do actually have 2 extra checks, where the majority of it can go to paying down debt or going into savings. And so let me close this back. Number 3, list your digital envelope categories and the amount for each one. So my digital envelope categories are my tithes, groceries, eating out, self-care, gas, and then I just added in recently unbudgeted. And I put a 0 there because really I don't want to have anything that I haven't budgeted for. So for those categories, say you spend $500 a month in groceries. Make sure you put that amount down. If you're not sure how much you spend, don't give yourself a low amount that you're not going to be able to keep, as well as do not give yourself a too high of an amount that you're just spending, money because it's like, oh, this is my grocery money and I can spend it all. You will be able to make adjustments. I want to say the first 6 months will probably be you figuring things out, making adjustments and changing things. Make sure you put how much gas. You can probably go back and look if you use your debit card to pay for gas so that you can set that category up. And also for like self-care, don't forget, haircuts, beauty salon for the women, getting your nails done, buying makeup. You can also add in here, when you buy your personal hygiene. I include that in my groceries because I don't always spend all of my grocery money. So I'll use it for personal hygiene stuff. Or you can make a category totally separate for personal hygiene, but we'll get to that. Once you do that, just add those categories up because now you have your categories from all of your bills and all of your digital envelopes. You can add those together and you'll know how much you need to survive for the month. These two categories added together will be what you need to survive. This is your bare minimum bones right here for how much you need for the month. The next, number 4, you're going to decide what future expense funds you want to have. Make a list with the amounts for each. So I have about 10 future expense funds, but you don't have to have that many. And, I do recommend a few because they're very important. I believe definitely your car care, vehicle maintenance, that's your car care. That is like top priority. If you own or are buying your home, you need a fund for home expenses like fixing up your house. If you need a new roof, or if something happens and you need a water heater, or just things like that. Those 2 categories are hands down the most important because you can't get to work if your car is broken down and you can't get it fixed. And if you have a leak in your roof, you need to get it fixed, or something else in your house is going to need to be repaired as well. So those 2 categories are very, very, very important. It's okay if you do not have money after adding these 2 categories together in the first month to do your future expense funds, because that first month is you trying to figure out where can I make adjustments in my digital envelopes. Are there subscriptions that maybe I can cut back on from my bill category so that I can make a place for future expense funds? So this is not like necessity, but it's good to have, because if your battery dies and you don't have any money and what you're living on is the bare bones and you have nothing else to give, it's going to put stress on you to figure out how you're going to get that money for this battery. And you don't want to be in that type of predicament. This is what we're trying to avoid with our spending plans and budgeting. So start with 1, 2, and 3. These are your bare bones. These are going to get you through the month. This right here means you're starting to see some leeway in the adjustments that you're making so that you can have money set aside for things that may come up in the future. And that's why I call them future expense funds. And then number 5, track all spending. Track all spending. I cannot say that enough. Track all spending. It is very, very, very important. Like I said, for me, I may not spend all of my grocery money each week. So I have a little bit extra. Or I do not use the whole $25 for gas, because right now we really can't go anywhere, do too much. So I may have more money because all I'm doing is going to work and home, to work and home. I may go to, I go to the grocery store, but work and home. I try to make sure my grocery trip is once a week. So I'm not doing all this back and forth, and I go to work right now. So my gas bill is pretty low, and I do not use the whole thing always. So you have that. You can dump that money onto debt, or you can start to create your future expense funds, because your debt is getting paid because it's included in your bills. You're just not able to make extra payments. So you can create this future expense funds so that it doesn't put a strain on you if something happens that you really just need to make sure you make the bare bones of paying your bills and getting your groceries, your gas, paying your tithes, things like that. Let me see. Trying to remember and not leave anything out. Okay, so also for the future expense funds, you can also do one for memberships. I have a spot, in my future expense funds for memberships, such as Costco, Sam's, Amazon Prime. They only come around once a year. So you can make a future expense fund, add for memberships. So let's say Amazon Prime, I think, is like $130. Okay. Then a Sam's, if you do the basic, it's like $45 or $50. And then Costco, I have no idea how much that is. I think it's probably about the same as Sam's, $45. So add these up. 8 to 20. And so you'll divide 220 by 12, and that'll tell you how much you need each month to be able to cover these 3 memberships. So that's not a bad amount to deal with, when you break it down like that, because you may come one month and be like, oh, I have this Amazon Prime I need to pay, and it's $130. But if you're slowly preparing for it throughout the year, when it does come around, you'll have it. Let me erase this. Okay. And let's see if there's anything else I want to say about these. No. Oh, when you're tracking, you might want to carry a small little notebook or something, one of those small little memo pads. And if you're a planner babe, you can carry around a micro or a mini and put a note sheet in there. You may just run into a store real quick, but it hasn't been accounted for here, or here. So you need to make sure you write it down, because it's going to end up being something that was unbudgeted. But you need to account for that money that you spent. This is how we tackle doing extra spending outside of our spending plans. Trying to just hone in and monitor this money like a hawk. so that you can pay down debt and, start saving for retirement. This is how we get started, people. This is how we get started. So again, this is, the beginner's guide to setting up your spending plan. 1, list out all the bills from the first of the month to the last day of the month. Make sure you have the due dates and the amounts. 2, list them in the calendar and also write your paydays in. 3, list your digital envelope categories and the amounts you want to do for each. Then decide what future expense funds you want to have. Make a list with the amount for each of those, and then track all your spending. I believe that covers it. I hope I didn't forget anything. But if you feel like you have a question about something that I did not touch on, please leave it in the comments below and I will respond. I may not respond in the same day, but I definitely will respond. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye.